Hello everyone, my name is Christina, and today I will be presenting the research that my group and I conducted on repopulation plans during and post-COVID for the bleach manufacturing industry. Given the nature of this particular crisis, bleach is a necessary product for disinfecting. The workers in this industry are considered essential due to this fact. My group and I were motivated to learn more about how this industry has protected its workers and how HR leaders put their minds together to make sure the supply of this product was meeting its demand. Today, we will be presenting some considerations of repopulation from SOCMA, or as I like to call it, SOCMA, the Society of Chemical Manufacturers and Affiliates, that touch on repopulation phases, employee safety and concerns, workplace safety measures, and the long-term impacts. We will also be including an interview with one of our own, Patri Medina, who is an HR generalist from Allied Universal Corporation, the largest manufacturer of bleach in Florida. We asked her questions about certain challenges pertaining to repopulation in her company and some of their solutions. Our hope is to inform current and future human resource departments on how to effectively repopulate an organization and keep their employees safe. Let's take a look at the 3 different phases for repopulation. For the purposes of this presentation, we want to focus on the first phase, which involves those in the production and distribution of bleach. These essential workers include plant workers and delivery drivers, as well as management and janitorial staff. As you can see, the measures taken in this phase are critical to the performance of the staff. Social distancing, personal protection, and hygiene are strict, along with closed common areas and no visitors allowed. Everyone responds differently to situations that may be considered high stress, so respecting all levels of concern is a priority. Starting with the first core consideration from SOCMA, there are 3 parts to addressing employee safety and concerns. The first is to decrease employee fear and anxiety by implementing new policies that comply with CDC guidelines, such as wearing a mask and social distancing, establishing an employee assistance program that will support employees, and provide employees with a realistic supply of personal protective equipment for their use. Next, slowly and safely reintegrate staff on campus according to the phases discussed previously. This may look like scheduling essential employees accordingly so that there's less people on campus at the same time, and make sure to enforce screening requirements for them, such as temperature checks. Once those that need to be in person are on campus, limit interactions by integrating virtual meetings and limit access to high traffic areas. For example, only 2 people inside of a public restroom at a time. Moving on to the second consideration, SOCMA talks about specific safety measures at work. An obvious one is to clean and disinfect more rigorously and more often. To keep up with this, hiring external cleaning services may be necessary. In addition to that, it's important to think about how the workplace needs to look as a result of being cautious. Modifying the workspace, such as placing plastic dividers in between workers and installing signs to control traffic and limit amount of people in a space, are also mentioned. Installing high-tech air filtration systems are highly recommended. Although this pandemic has completely changed the way we all live our life, we have to think about the future and how repopulation plans may keep changing according to new information being released. With that being said, SOCMA has wisely included long-term actions for human resource departments to strongly consider. The first in the process is to keep having conversations. It's important for leaders to be transparent in their plans of change and to encourage feedback from those being affected. It's also important to keep your employees up to date with COVID-19 news. Although travel is considered essential, this pandemic has taught everyone that there are other means of getting the job done. Therefore, adhering to domestic and international travel restrictions will ensure the health and safety of your employees. If meetings must be in person, there needs to be proper safety protocols in place. The future, however, is moving in a virtual and technological direction. HR should look into virtual trainings and onboardings if possible, and discuss what other processes, such as audits, could be done virtually. So, what do these considerations look like in the bleach industry? We asked Patri, who is one of our own, a few questions to find out. Patry is a human resource generalist at Allied Universal Corporation. Allied is a chemical manufacturing company that has been in business since 1954. They are Florida's largest manufacturer of sodium hypochlorite, the chemical name for bleach, and supply water treatment chemicals throughout the southeastern United States, Caribbean, and Latin America. Most of their customers include local municipalities and swimming pool stores. Their operations run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with a 300-plus employee workforce. With that schedule, you can begin to imagine just how important it is to follow safe population standards. The employee population for this company consists of 3 major occupations: plant workers, chemical drivers, and administrative and management personnel. The first question we asked was, what are some steps taken to protect workers? The first initiative in Allied's approach was to implement new safety protocols to the entire workforce. This included masks, hand sanitizers, and sanitizing wipes. In the factories, social distancing guidelines were implemented, including the mandate to wear masks at all times. To further social distance guidelines at all of the company facilities, all of the bathrooms were given a limit occupancy of 2 at a time per gender bathroom. The break rooms and lunchrooms had their chairs and tables removed. The rooms were only used to view any company announcements and maintain the federal state employment guidelines. The outsourced janitorial staff had added responsibilities, such as frequently sanitizing contact points like door handles and elevator touch buttons. The plant managers changed their employees' shift schedules to have less plant workers at a given time within a workspace. For the safety of their drivers, Allied issued notices to their customers of their new contactless delivery of their chemical products, which started in early March. For the administrative and management staff, Allied provided telework opportunities as well as alternate work schedules for employees to work a few days at home and the other days in the office building. Traveling between the different branch locations was suspended. Instead, virtual meetings were enforced throughout all departments. Next, we wanted to understand how the company was encouraging its essential employees to feel safe coming back to work. Patry informed us that Allied issued a $1 per hour wage increase to employees as part of an appreciation pay for 6 months. In partnership with the company's group health plan, free services were provided to employees and their dependents within their employee assistance program, including behavioral care related to COVID, regardless of whether the employees were insured with a group plan or not. If employees requested COVID antigen testing, the group health plan would cover it at no cost. If employees were not insured under the group health plan, Allied would reimburse them 50% of the cost. We asked Patry the difference in population pre- and post-COVID to get a better understanding of the impacts of their repopulation plan. Before COVID, the company was making deals in preparation for their busiest season, which is summertime. There was an increase in sales, and the increased demand caused for a hiring surplus. This comes right after the low season of winter months, where there's a decrease in sales and thus an increase of voluntary employee turnover. When the pandemic struck in March, the demand for bleach increased past previous numbers as the company acquired 100 new customers during the past 8 months. This increased demand of products created a steady flow of revenue, including these current winter months that we're in. Therefore, the employee turnover rate has decreased. After explaining the measures implemented to repopulate the workplace, we asked Patry to think about what Allied may have missed or could have done better. She mentioned that the use of temperature screening devices and touch-free time clocks upon building entry have not been introduced. Both company management and operations felt the use of these scanners were not always accurate and may provide false temperature readings. The touch-free time clocks have not been installed because management thinks placing hand sanitizers next to the clocks will be sufficient to keep the employees safe after punching in and out for the day. Upon discussion, our group agreed that being safe is better than being sorry, and the installation of these devices could have encouraged employees to feel like their health doesn't have a price tag, especially since many other companies and stores have adapted with these features. Another issue was the abrupt implementation of telework capability with the limited technology available and insufficient training for admin and management personnel. Before COVID, telework was not encouraged, so Ally didn't invest in the proper technology and software for this type of opportunity. After management decided to offer employees to work from home, there were many technological difficulties to access the company's servers remotely within the first 2 weeks. The IT department, having limited resources, had to abruptly handle all the troubleshooting problems of these employees within a short period. Also, due to the limited staffing in the IT department, they didn't provide sufficient training to employees that needed assistance to access their work remotely. In summary, our group recognizes that although every business is unique in the way they function, essential industries such as the bleach manufacturing industry need to continue adapting to the new normal caused by the current pandemic in order to thrive and deliver the best quality to their consumers. In these challenging times, companies must adhere to the guidelines provided by research. Repopulating the workplace strategically involves preparing your employees by educating them and providing them with whatever they'll need to perform their jobs safely. These are things that we as HR professionals need to keep in mind. We have an opportunity in our positions to balance business and consideration for others. Thankfully, our current research has guided us to the point that we're at now, but we must continue to educate ourselves on this topic to better prepare our employees for the uncertainty of the future. On behalf of my group, I would like to thank you all for tuning in to our webinar for wellness management.